Hey everyone, this is Mike with MuleSoft, and I've got this project I've been building, and I wanted to share with you how we have Anypoint uploading Azure files to Azure Blob storage and then bulk loading from there to an Azure SQL database. So quite an interesting project. Thought you might be interested in it. So let me walk you around. I'm going to show you through my design overview, show you that, and then we're going to look at a demo, and we're going to move 100,000 record CSV to file storage and then to a database, and then a million row file from a CSV file to storage in the database, and then we're going to walk through the project. All right. So essentially what we're going to see is we're going to see this file show up. Mule's going to see the file, move it over to the cloud, and then bulk load that from the cloud to Azure SQL Database. So pretty simple, not complicated. First I'm going to show you my Azure file container. So file container, MuleSoft container, right now it's empty, just has a test file in there. And then I have this cloud database on database.windows.net, and I've got a table in there, sales records. Right now sales records is empty. So if we run a count on the sales records, there's nothing in it. And so what's going to happen is this flow is going to kick off, it's going to receive a file, it's going to upload that to Blob, then it's going to create a bulk load script and then execute that script that moves the file over. So the project's running. Now I just need to drop a file into the drop point. So there's a drop point, DB stage, and then these are some of the files that I have that we can test with. So I'm going to start off with a 100,000 file because that'll load in about 30 seconds. And so drop that there. So then Mule is going to receive that and then take that file, push it over to Azure File Storage, and then from there push it to Azure SQL Database. So that's going on in the background. Let's see, is it there yet? So yeah, there it is. File just showed up, 11 megabyte file. And then so next what's happening is that it kicked off a script that's going to load it over to the SQL table out in the cloud, Azure SQL Database. So let's see if it's there yet. Yeah, it is there. So now we have 100,000 records loaded just like that in about 30 seconds. So next up we're going to run a $1 million project, and our $1 million CSV file, million record CSV file, and let me kick that off because that takes about 3 minutes. So there we go, million, and drop that into the stage folder. Okay, so then Mule just picked that up and is pushing that out to Blob storage and then gonna execute a script. So while that's going on, because that takes a while, let me walk you through this project. All right, so let's see, let's look at the properties. You can see that it's a simple flow, right? Just monitoring for a file at the pickup point, and then after that file shows up, I grab the file name and just load that into the local variable because that's passed in a feature point here in my script, and then I just log the fact that we started the process so I can get timings and such, and then I have this processor that uploads to a file, so it's going to drop it in the MuleSoft 1 container that you saw on Azure earlier, and then the file name is the file name that's going to be created, and the stream is the content of the file, and that's the payload from the file processor. So that's going to send that file out there to the cloud, and that'll process right now. And then next is I create a script, right? Because I've got to dynamically pass in that file name in a bulk load statement, right? So that Azure SQL knows where on Azure Blob to find the file. So this is that parameter for a bulk insert. So it's going to insert from that Blob location, that particular file name that's dropped in. And then there's a few parameters that say what is the data source. So if you're familiar with SQL, you can load from data sources that are near or far that are registered as data sources, and so Blob data storage is a potential viable data source for Azure SQL data loads, and then the format I'll show you here. And then the next is really just to execute that SQL statement with our database connector. So the database configuration is just pointed to the Azure SQL database. Let's take a look at that. So the Azure SQL database we can connect to with just our SQL Server driver with our database connector. Just specify host name, a port, and a username. That's all easily configurable with Azure SQL Database, and so that's passed into it. And then that script is read from a file here that is written at this step right here, and then that's it for the flow. So there's really not a lot to it. Pretty simple. The other connector I want to show you is how the Blob storage connector works. So let me show you that. It's really as simple as saying that the connection is a SAS token, and then you can specify the SAS token for that storage account. So I can show you where you get those. So this is my container. Let's see if our file is there yet. Okay, yeah. Our million sales records file loaded up. It's 114 megabytes, so that's sitting there right now. Let's see. If I want to provide access to it, you can see that my shared access signature, I can create those. That's what I specify in my connector as a credential, because if I can create my shared access connector, and that creates a SAS token that I can drop in there. So it's pretty simple. All right, then let's see if our database is loaded yet. So previously 100,000 records in the database table. Run it, and let's see. Now we have 1,100,000 in there. So worked pretty good. Anyway, so hope this helps you. If you have any questions about how to load data and what are some strategies for loading data using cloud data or any of these connectors that you see here, happy to help answer your questions anytime. All right, thanks.